Hello and welcome to News Bulletin from CBATV, the voice of East Africa and beyond. My name is Ajara Matijani. First, the headlines. Somaliland 9th Annual Trade Fair kicks off in Boro. Somali migrants rescued off Greek coast. Somali aspirant presidential candidate dies. United States forces kill top Al-Shabaab leaders in an airstrike. Ethiopia's electoral board revokes TPLF's legitimacy. Now the news in full. The Somaliland Ministry of Trade, Commerce and Tourism commenced the 9th Annual Trade Fairs in Boro as many major businesses across Somaliland partake in the exercise, which is scheduled to span a week. For the first time, the city of Boro is playing host to many major businesses and business moguls across the country as Somaliland Ministry of Trade, Commerce and Tourism organizes 9th Annual Trade Fair at the Dalu Hotel in the city center. Against all odds, residents of Boro, Somaliland business moguls and investors from around the world turned up in large numbers to be part of this historical event. The trade fair was kicked off by several officials from the Ministry of Trade and Commerce as well as the Mayor of Boro. The Mayor of Boro, Muhammad Abdurrahman Murad, whose city hosted the event, has first made the opening and welcoming remarks to the participants. He firstly thanked the government official for their attendance despite their busy schedule and heavy task. Mohammed Ahmed Awad, the Somaliland Minister of Investment, expressed in depth his gratitude on this event. He accentuated that annual trade fairs contribute to local entrepreneurs and businesses to have good standard cooperation. The annual trade fair in Somaliland is organized for local and international companies to exhibit their services and products within 7 days. Generally, there will be a central trade floor where customers will come and check for their favorite items. The event was filled with international business organizations, local industry titans and small business owners. The fair has not only given big businesses a chance to attract new customers from Boro, but also has allowed small businesses to gain exposure as well. The Greek Coast Guard rescued Somali migrants who were from Turkey. One person was confirmed dead and other minor injuries. This is not the first time African migrants, including Somali, were rescued in the Greek coasts.
At least 27 Somali migrants were rescued after boats from Turkey totally stopped functioning. The Lost Force Coast Guard said the migrants were planning to come to Greece to proceed their journey to other European countries. One person has been confirmed dead after the port team managers dumped them into the ocean on early Tuesday morning. Officials have not revealed more details about the dead person, but reports say he died of a cold. The Greece islands in the Eastern Asian Sea and Lesbos are one of the access routes migrants use to reach to other European countries. Every year, many Somalis try to reach European countries. Some of them die before their destination. Lack of gainful employment opportunities for young people has been cited as major reason for youth migration in Somalia.
Abdul Karim Ali Omar, who was one of Somali's aspirants for the presidential office, has died in Ohio, United States of America. He has been in hospital for the past few days, though the cause of his death was not revealed.
Abdikarim Ali Omar, who was aspiring to contest for the upcoming presidential election in Somalia, has died in Ohio, United States of America. According to the relatives, he has been in the hospital for the past days to get treatment, though neither the government of Somalia nor the relatives disclosed the cause of his death. He served as ambassador of Ziad Barre's regime to the United States. He served the office between November 16, 1989 and December 18, 1990. Since the fall of the Somali central government led by Mohamed Ziad Barre, Abdikarim has been living in the U.S. He worked in Somalia's embassy in Canada. Last October, the late ambassador declared his plans to run for presidency in the upcoming elections in Somalia. Many people who were close to him have described it as someone who had a deep understanding of diplomacy.
The National Electoral Board of Ethiopia, NEBE, announced that it has revoked the legal status of Tigray People's Liberation Front (TPLF) as political party.
The decision was made after the board's evaluation process that confirmed that TPLF has engaged in armed rebellion and hence can't any longer meet the criteria to own a legal status. The board said it had confirmed the party's involvement in the violence, citing statements made by the party and publicly available facts to determine whether TPLF was involved in the violence. Furthermore, the Electoral Board alleged that it has tried to contact former representatives of TPLF's Addis Ababa office who had been working as a liaison between the party and the board to give him a chance to respond, but the alleged representative said he could not represent the party. However, the board did not specify about the individuals who were reportedly approached to see if they can represent the party.
And from Rwanda, the Rwandan government has imposed a 15-day lockdown on its capital, Kigali, as the country battles a second wave of coronavirus cases that has led to unprecedented number of fatalities and transmission rates.
The Rwandan government has imposed a 15-day lockdown on its capital, Kigali, as the country battles a second wave of coronavirus cases that led to unprecedented number of fatalities and transmission rates. The government, in a statement, said all movement outside homes in the capital will require an approved permission from the police except for essential service providers. It also said travel between Kigali and other provinces and districts will not be permitted except for essential services and tourism. Visitors and tourists, the government said, must have COVID-19 negative certificate before they can move in and out the capital. This is the second time Kigali will be going to lockdown since the outbreak of the pandemic, which started in Wuhan, China. In March 2020, the government imposed a countrywide lockdown that lasted 45 days in order to prevent the widespread of the virus. To further curb the spread of the pandemic, public transport has been banned from working and all employees in public and private sector have all been instructed to work from home except for those providing essential services such as health workers, security men, fire service, and so on. Coronavirus cases are on the rise in the country. Officials said 61% of the new cases since the new year were recorded in the capital, Kigali. The country has so far confirmed 11,259 coronavirus cases and 146 deaths. Kamil Sadiq, reporting for CBATV.
An agreement that provides for coordination in monitoring merchant ships suspected of violating an arms embargo against Libya by sharing satellite images and exchanging information was signed on Monday. The working arrangement was signed during a virtual ceremony by Frontex Executive Director Fabrice Leggeri and Rear Admiral Fabio Agostini, the commander of Operation Irini. The meeting was also attended by the Director General of Immigration and Home Affairs of the European Commission, Monique Barat, according to a statement of the EU mission. Operation Irini is an important partner for us, and Frontex will provide information to overcome security issues in the Mediterranean. The EU mission statement quoted Frontex commander as saying, "At the center of the agreement are exchanges of intelligence and expertise, particularly in the coordinated use of satellite images, analysis, mobilization of specialists, and tactical coordination. This cooperation is an important tool, especially for the exchange of information on merchant vessels suspected of violating the arms embargo against Libya," said Irini's statement. The Frontex agency specifies that it will share with Irini information collected in the framework of its risk analysis activities, such as the surveillance of vessels on the high seas and data from its area surveillance in the central Mediterranean. Operation Irini, launched in April, has a mandate from the UN Security Council. Its area of operation in the eastern Mediterranean has been moved away from the routes used by migrant smugglers in Libya, and its mission has been limited to monitoring arms and oil embargoes. Libya has been plunged into chaos since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi's regime in 2011. Two authorities are vying for power with foreign backings the United Nations recognized government of national unity in Tripoli and a power embodied by Khalifa Haftar, a strongman controlling the east. The GNA is supported by Turkey, while the Haftar camp is backed by the United Arab Emirates, Russia, and Egypt. Turkey considers the Irini mission to be biased and accuses Europe of seeking through this mechanism to prevent the delivery of arms by sea destined for Tripoli government, while ignoring those supplied by Khalifa Haftar by his allies by air and land. 1 in 3 people in the southeast of Madagascar now suffer from severe food insecurity, the United Nations Office of the Coordination for Humanitarian Affairs has said. Southern Madagascar is suffering from worst drought in a decade and the resultant food crisis worsened by the effect of coronavirus. In times of drought, one of the survival strategies is to send family members to work in the large cities, but movement between regions has been prohibited for months of containment against the pandemic, explains Jen Leike, spokesperson from the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, sounding the alarm, says funds are desperately needed to address the situation. An emergency assistance of nearly $76 million is needed to meet the need of nearly 1 million people. The funds, the agency says, will help to complement the funds mobilized at the national level and will serve the most pressing needs of communities in the deep south during the off-season, which is now beginning. A recent study projects that 135,000 children under the age of 5 will suffer from acute malnutrition in the coming months in the deep south if nothing is done in time. From South Africa, South African Health Minister Zweli Mkhize spoke out on Tuesday about COVID-19 pandemic after making his rounds at hospitals in Johannesburg. The health minister explained the current state of health affairs.
This surge came much faster than we anticipated, and it became worse than we actually initially expected. And this partly has also got to do with the degree of complacency at a level of society when we start dropping the mask, start going to big parties and so on. Part of the reason why you're seeing more young people coming in is also because of the behavior when younger people got into activities that were super spreader activities.
The spike in coronavirus infections, driven by a more contagious variant of the virus, has put a heavy strain on South Africa's hospitals. The health minister continued as he urged citizens to sit up in the fight.
We are waiting to see what the impact is going to be. For another week or so, if we keep the trend, that means we might be slowly getting out of the surge. But if the impact of those who are infected were still incubating, then of course we're still within that time when those numbers can still show up. So if we didn't institute the level 3 modified approach in terms of restrictions, we would have been worse off. And I think it's important for all of us to understand that we have been saved because of the very strong restrictions that we have all had to endure in the process.
South Africa has the highest prevalence of COVID-19 in Africa, with daily infection totals peaking at 21,980 cases as per report on January 8, and a cumulative total of more than 1.35 million confirmed cases, including 38,288 deaths. Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera has introduced new lockdown measures to contain a jump in confirmed cases and deaths from COVID-19.
I have called for an emergency meeting of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, which has thus far done a commendable job.
Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera has introduced new lockdown measures to contain a jump in confirmed cases and deaths from COVID-19. The restrictions include school closures, a nighttime curfew, and no gathering over 50 people. The government has also converted one of the country's stadium to isolation center to treat the infected people. These tight measures came after the Ministry of Education disclosed that 311 out of 605 students at Girls Secondary School in Lilongwe have tested positive for coronavirus. As for the lockdown measures, the president ordered markets to be closed at 5 p.m. and drinking establishments to close by 8 p.m. He said no one should be on the street between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. and banned gatherings of over 50 people. To prevent further spread of the virus, President Chekwera ordered that all schools to be closed for 3 weeks, except for students currently undergoing Certificate of Education examinations. Chekwera also said all students in boarding schools must be screened for COVID-19 before they go home. The death of 2 COVID-19 positive ministers last week prompted Chekwera to declare a state of emergency, allowing him to sidestep the court ruling. To date, Malawi has recorded just 12,470 coronavirus cases and 314 deaths for a population of over 18 million.
The situation is becoming worse because we have seen an increase in the number of patients, said in the wards as well as in our clinics.
President Chekwera had earlier warned that Malawi's healthcare facilities had been overwhelmed by the rising number of COVID-19. The president, however, promised that $24 million would be set aside to fight the pandemic. Kamil Sadiq, CBATV.
To the West Africa, President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria has met behind closed door with his counterpart from Benin Republic, President Patrice Talon, at the State House, Abuja.
President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria has met behind closed door with his counterpart from Benin Republic, President Patrice Talon, at the State House, Abuja. The Beninese leader, who arrived at the forecourt of the presidential villa at 11:09 Nigerian time, was received by Mr. Buhari. The agenda of the meeting between the two leaders, who immediately went into a closed-door session, was not revealed to the journalists. In a statement, however, the Nigeria president promised to continue to work with neighboring countries where and how expected. The statement further stated that Mr. Talon, who last met with President Muhammadu Buhari in June 2019, was in the villa to thank Mr. Buhari for ordering the reopening of Nigeria borders in December 2020. Noting that the challenges of 2020 were huge, he stressed that the same challenges may remain in 2021. Therefore, the relationship between Nigeria and Republic of Benin as neighbors must remain cordial. Mr. Buhari had, in August 2019, ordered closure of Nigeria's land borders to check smuggling of rice and other foodstuffs as well as small arms and light weapons. The president and the visiting Beninese leader are said to have also discussed security and bilateral matters as well as other sub-regional issues.
Nigeria just opened its borders, and now we have a new opportunity for Nigerian traders to benefit from the open borders. Now it's an opportunity for Nigerian traders to be able to take their goods across into the West African sub-region. So this portends good business and increased trade relations between Nigeria and other West African countries. And also, you must remember that Nigeria signed on to the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, which has come into force, which came into force on the 1st of January this year. So it is key that the borders are open so that this agreement that we have signed can be effective.
The president of Benin is going to do everything within his powers to ensure that this thing doesn't rear its ugly head ever again, that there will never be any issue of whatever, whether it's smuggling, whether it's trafficking, whatever it is, between Benin and Nigeria. They're going to set up a committee to come up with terms of reference, to take some very bold and very decisive steps and sustainable steps to ensure that it will never be.
The latest report by the International Chamber of Commerce, International Maritime Bureau, IMB, has shown that piracy in the Gulf of Guinea recorded the highest number of crew kidnapped in 2020.
The report indicated that the Gulf of Guinea accounted for over 95% of 135 crew members kidnapped globally during the period. Meanwhile, experts across several countries have called on the Nigerian government to deploy a more effective military response to contain the surgent pirate attacks and kidnappings of the Western African coast. The situation has not upped this year with a fresh case of assault on a container ship, Maersk Cardiff, reportedly attacked in Port Harcourt last Wednesday, which showed that Nigerian waters are still porous despite the federal government's efforts to combat piracy. The IMB report indicated that in 2020, IMB's Piracy Reporting Center received 195 incidents of piracy and armed.
From the world of sport, Ghana Premier League side Asante Kotoko have secured a partnership deal with the English top-flight outfit Southampton Football Club.
Ghana's Premier League side Asante Kotoko have secured a partnership deal with English top-flight outfit Southampton Football Club. The groundbreaking partnership seeks to plug Kotoko into Southampton and ensure sustainable development where Kotoko functions like Southampton. The two-time CAF Champions League winners will receive strategic support both on and off the pitch from Southampton through the collaboration. The union will see the two clubs collaborate in areas namely the development of Ghanaian clubs' youth system, improved supporter management and mobilization, commercial development, operational structuring and organization. Also, the Premier League club will help its Ghanaian partners to build a sustainable academy by sharing its coaching expertise, providing year-round remote support and occasional visits to Ghana. Some of Asante Kotoko's youth players will also have the opportunity to attend annual UK player development camps with travel corridors reopen. Asante Kotoko is one of Ghana's biggest clubs on and off the pitch. In the Premier League, the Kumasi-based outfit are the most successful outfit in the history of the competition, having won the championship on 23 occasions, 4 more than arch rivals Hearts of Oak. On continental level, the Warriors are two-time African champions. They won the competition in 1970 and 1983.
Sport from the foreign scene, Leicester City moved to top of the Premier League table and increased the pressure on struggling Chelsea manager Frank Lampard with an impressive victory at the King Power Stadium, as reported by Abdulaziz Guled.
Leicester City moved to the top of the Premier League and increased the pressure on struggling Chelsea manager Frank Lampard with an impressive victory at the King Power Stadium. The Foxes' near win would see them overhaul Manchester United, and they were on their way after 6 minutes when Wilfred Ndidi fired in off the post from 20 yards. Chelsea rarely threatened, although they were denied a first-half penalty by VAR when Christian Pulisic went down under a challenge from Johnny Evans, only for the technology to confirm the offence took place just outside the area. Lampard's misery was swiftly reinforced as Leicester City broke clear to add a second 4 minutes before the break. James Maddison sweeping a cool finish past Chelsea keeper Edouard Mendy on the half volley from Mark Albrighton's pass. Borussia Dortmund's hopes of moving to the second in the Bundesliga were dashed as they fell to a narrow defeat at Bayern Leverkusen. The result still sees Leverkusen go second, 3 points above Dortmund, who remain fourth. Moussa Diaby's low effort had given the hosts a merited early lead, but the visitors hit back via Julian Brandt's curling efforts and looked to have secured a point until Florian Wirtz scored a superb late winner. It was no more than Leverkusen deserved, registering 13 shots on target to the visitors' 3. England international Jadon Sancho and Jude Bellingham were both substituted in a below-par Dortmund performance, while Norwegian forward Erling Braut Haaland also failed to make an impact on the game. Southampton under straightforward win over Shrewsbury in the third rearranged FA Cup third tie at St Mary's. Daniel Undulu opened the scoring for a much-challenged Saints side with a low effort into the bottom left corner. The hosts dominated possession while they were relatively comfortable, took James Ward-Prowse's late free kick to seal their win. Southampton will now host Arsenal in the fourth round of the competition on Saturday.
With that sport report, we've come to the end of the news bulletin from CBATV, the voice of East Africa and beyond. Watch out for the repeat broadcast of these and more from this station. My name is Ajara Ahmed Tijani. Bye for now.